Well, hello, everybody. The bus is running just a little bit. It was a slight delay. Something about, I don't know, they had something in, the air traffic control tower and they were holding this. But we're gone. We're out of here. So, welcome, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. If you're here, well, I say you fulfilled your destiny for this moment in time. So, thank you. There I am. There you ladies are. Good to see y'all.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm telling you, when we come and meet ladies, this is just a full manifestation of favor on my
Mhm.
life,
Mine too.
because I got
Mine too.
really, as they would say, I got lucky girl when you found me. Remember that long line
Mm.
in Tom Petty?
Yes.
Lucky girl. So anyway, welcome everybody. Let me just speak favor over us all. Nothing missing, nothing broken. And that's the seed that always, you plant that seed, no matter what the need, you will always have that crop coming in. So welcome everybody. Welcome everyone in the chat room. And hello, Trina. Hello, Jenny. How are
Mm.
you two lovely goddesses doing? Because y'all
Uh,
are goddesses. You know.
As you are a god. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Rod Stewart said, you wear it well.
Yeah, you
Oh.
too. You
You
too.
do too. You're looking really good too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm
Uh,
good. I'm now. I'm glad to
or,
see you.
what was that, Jenny?
I'm answering the question as in that I'm good and I'm better now. In that to see you and be
Mhm.
in the space of seeing the different names because it is my reprieve. I'm not getting
It
online.
is.
I haven't had the time to. I'm struggling to do that, and I'm not fighting it either. So busyness has been key, but this is a reprieve. This is my okay time no matter
Yeah.
what.
Well,
That's
Jenny,
me.
we're just like super blessed that, you're here and, we love you.
Love
See
you too.
the kids, your mom. Speak
Yes.
healing to your mom. That
Yeah,
she
yeah.
was having some issues with an abscess.
But an abscess, yeah. She's just
Yeah.
all of a sudden, I mean, Trina got on a tangent about how it's an energetic thing right now.
Mhm.
So that there's frequencies right now that are affecting the teeth. I've been delving deep into how to use frequencies to regrow the teeth. Testing it on a tooth that cracked on me a few weeks ago. So there's a lot of that. I think there's a lot of that astrologically. There'll be more people that are much wiser than me that can give precise details of that, I bet, because I feel like it's a planetary thing, a frequency thing, a plate magnet thing. Like I feel like it, and it's affecting the bones. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, I've been delving deep because of mum. I can't see her in pain. Can't see anyone in pain, but I can't see my mum in pain. So
Yeah.
my mouth's a bit numb with all of the essential oils I was testing out for her, for the paste I'm going to take down to her tonight. So yeah, family, raise your arms and your hearts and your manifestations for Mum, for Deborah, um, beautiful Deborah, the bee. Because I appreciate all of the energetic forms in here and the power of healing that you have. And I have no chagrin about turning up to mum's after this show and all of the pastes that I've made being completely thankful for, but not necessary. I absolutely agree with your favor in the chat and with you too on that. I'll smile and say that was the family. So you do that for me while I'm
Mhm.
relaxing for an hour.
Far up.
Thank
Wow.
you. Yeah, I'm calling on you. I'm pulling on
Yeah.
you for you'll all feel it because I am. I'm sending out that energetic lasso. And yeah, wow, you feel it.
Mhm.
Answer my call. And I don't mind being firm when it comes to mum if you haven't noticed. Uh, I don't ask for
Love
much on
does
behalf
that.
of my own very well, but when it comes to the boys and mum, I know I can lasso you all and I can feel you all. So I'm already seeing that smile. When I say mum, that was the family. Thank you.
Love it. What can you say? I love that. I mean, and we just speak healing to that. Words are not confined to a particular time. They just, you know, think about it. We got words that were written 8,000 years ago that we're still speaking. That tells you the power of words.
Yeah, yeah.
And, short of lane, because my coming out of the ministry the healing ministry, I mean, how does a person receive healing? Well, first of all, they have to have the belief that they can be healed. I mean, if they
Hmm.
don't believe that they can, then, it's
Well,
really,
that's ticked. Mum is a great healer herself,
yeah,
and she has never ever had. She actually taught me everything I know, and she did great healing works,
yeah.
including moving my bones through intercession, with X-rays to prove. So she's got you'll all be feeling her already. She'll just say thank you, and I'll do it back one day. So that's
And
ticked.
it's true that if a person doesn't believe in a particular thing about healing, you are then violating their law, and you're putting yourself into a place that you really don't want to. I mean, but yeah,
Just thought it's like jacking up a battery that hasn't got the capacity to take that energy, and it'll give you a blowback some way
they
or
just
shape or
reject it.
form. Um, so you're right on that one.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Well, Trina, you've been awfully quiet, dear. How are you been?
I've been good,
Yeah,
very good. What like I mean, I don't want to shift the topic, but like what you were discussing before we got on, and how it's like it's really happening.
it's here.
I've been in that place because I'm feeling it on such a level right now. It's off the chain.
And
So
this is
good,
just the
but
first phase.
I know. Yeah, I think you could, yeah, I think you're right.
You know, looking back on past, episodes and even going back when Brian was still with us, it's amazing, almost a decade ago when we were talking about the future, the Deagle report, how could they say
Mhm.
that there was going to be this loss of life? And here we are. We've been transported in time and we are at that time. And it's interesting to see, well, if the Deagle report was true, then it never said when this thing would happen. It just simply said it would be in 25. And what we're seeing now, particularly in this country, and I don't know, Jenny, if it's in other parts of the world, but the fuse has been lit.
Yeah.
And the United States we're in this is an invasion of what's taking place, particularly in the cities. It's spreading. I think it was Los Angeles, Santa Ana, reports coming out of Dallas, other cities, and trust me, it's being funded. And when you have foreigners who come into a country and then start with violence, that's an invasion. That's actually an act of war. And the current administration, my concern is that you're going to see a much more stronger response to this, and they're going to make it an act of war. I think I've already heard certain not Democrats, but Congress people talking about this, that this is an act of war. These are foreigners who've come on U.S. soil and now have started this. So my point to all this is what feeds the beast. And you're going to see it in the ratings. All the news channels are going to be going live in different cities as the summer of fire begins. And to me, that's a
I just
curse.
read.
I don't see that as anything positive.
Mhm. I just heard that there's buzz going around this Saturday, potentially 180 cities at once.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. This is, and then you heard today the leader of Al Qaeda has now given apparently the signal, and he said today, I got, in fact, I have the news story, that it is time now to wake the sleepers up.
oh boy.
And if y'all remember, I did back in the day when I did the Steiger perspective.
Mhm.
And you go back, and I think it's still in the archives on Artist First. And I specifically spoke back then, and kind of the reason why the Steiger perspective went away. I was dealing with things that weren't supposed to be talked about. But anyway, um, it's true.
I
And
know.
death threats, no less. Death threats.
I
What the
yeah,
freak is
yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Uh, but
Oh.
Anyway, Lynn and I, we belonged to an organization back in the time when we knew the president of the Border Patrol. And he brought the evidence that they were showing back in 2012 of camps that they were coming up in your part of the country, Trina, all
Mhm.
along that no man's land that's just to the east of you. And so we knew things were coming up, and that's how I got information about these sleeper cells, how they work. This was direct intel that apparently I wasn't supposed to talk about, but
Mhm.
and these sleeper cells, people don't understand is that they've been here. They have blended in. And if Al Qaeda is now calling for a hit on the U.S., China is calling for a hit on the U.S. They arrested two Chinese nationals 2 weeks ago that they were carrying that bioweapon specifically for crops.
Yeah.
So, and this is what ties
Mm.
into yesterday when I was talking about, you know, what we can do. These are amazing vessels that we have. They're powerful. We're
Mhm.
powerful.
Mhm.
And I don't like the fact that, that we have to sit here and see this destruction when no one talks about love. No one talks about reconciliation. No one talks about coming against the curse and coming and standing against this and calling the curse what it is, a curse. How is it in the UK, Jenny?
It's what I warned it would be, unfortunately. Standards are dropping rapidly. Societal standards, politeness, all of those things that you see slipping, especially as an empath. I'm seeing a more rapid slip. Uh, People who've been micromanaged for too long by government all of a sudden are being ignored by government,
Mm.
and the systems that they were micromanaged by have all but disappeared. Also busy doing what? I don't know, because it's not solving normal crime, it's not solving normal dental issues,
Well,
standards
you
of
said
healthcare.
you can't even get an appointment with a dentist.
Yeah, private or NHS, you can't. She obviously pays for a dentistry. She can't be, she couldn't get either anyway. And now you can't go to the dental hospital, which was like a dental A&E. Um, you hear outside my home, which is usually quiet, what sounds like gunshots. It's probably fireworks. It's still light outside. Things are dropping rapidly for no good reason other than the micromanaged aren't being managed anymore. And that's what is the biggest threat because the stupidity is showing. And that's a larger problem of the governments wanting to oppress and control the masses here for too long. And this is the payback when they step back and have bigger things to deal with. Um, I'm seeing I think, a different picture of the imprint of the coup that we've found. It's been through lobbying and lobbying the countries that we fund, basically, or that we have oppressed. The threats coming from the Middle East here are very little. The Middle Eastern people who are here are doing a very good job at community outreach, at
Good.
staying to the line and holding their people to account, actually. They aren't the biggest threat, but the people who look like me, who are male, are being poked and prodded like a fire, stoked, with the same fear and racism. So yeah, it's a coup right now. We're
Mm.
seeing it. World War II never ended. I've always said that. It's been a rolling thing. And the people that were absorbed from the highest places during that era, we're dealing with those generations now in my
The spirit
in
of Patton would say you are right.
yeah, they didn't go away. We
George Patton,
absorbed
he
them.
said it. We might as
We're,
well go
our
ahead and
government
kick these
still
commie
gets.
son of bitches while we got them, because he said eventually we're going to have to fight them anyway.
And now we've converted to them. As a
True,
society,
true.
we've
Yeah,
converted. It's
yeah,
not that we aren't
yeah.
them. Our governments have actually all but converted to that. So when we think of World War II and them absorbing people from the highest places, in all of these governments that are causing the most trouble around the world, these same families being in control over and over again, these same names that we've known, that's not an accident. That was the coup. The plan never stopped.
So
We
it's
are
an
them.
interesting point because if you look back in the war, World War II, and Churchill and his relationship with Aleister Crowley, I often wonder how much magic, real magic, I'm talking the one that, you not only conjure, but you put to some subjugation in demons, angels.
I
So
think a lot.
And I was just thinking that because we're finding out more and more that the Nazis, the war was a distraction. They were heavily into the occult. And whether it was because they had made contact with
Yeah.
another species, but they definitely were hooked into something.
Yeah.
And
I'm
it
pretty
seemed
sure
like it
it
was
is like,
Crowley was the only one that was the opposing force to whatever the hell the Nazis had brought in or were aligned with. And of course, Crowley has now been ridiculed for many of his, quirks, but, he's human, I guess. But it still brings up the fact that if the occult was playing such a role with these two dynamic forces, Jenny, you're right. It never stopped. It just
No.
went unnoticed.
Yeah. And we accepted it. We accepted it happily. We
Isn't
asked
that
for
what a
it as
spell does?
society. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, go to sleep, go to sleep, nothing to
And it's
see.
all in the numbers. It's all in the numbers. Number 17, 7 itself. We are the 17 and the 7. You are the 17 and the 7. And we've been allowing our governments to use our conditioned people to go around being the Christians all over. It's never stopped. And we're all going to pay some time of reparation for that, I feel. Not because of the threats from outside, but the world's looking at us right now in a way and thinking of ways to inoculate us from what we absorbed happily when our governments betrayed us in World War
Well,
II.
most people don't believe um, in magic. Even those
Yeah,
who say that they do and they practice, they really don't believe it. They're experimenting. Um,
plain.
Very few humans are committed. Can I show y'all a picture? Because I want to bring something into the queue here with while we're here because there's a point to this. Let me show you this. Hi, y'all. How y'all doing? Good to see everyone in the chat room. So, do
Mhm.
y'all know what this is?
Adam and Eve, the
Yeah,
serpent. Yeah.
Well, look at it deep. So Adam and Eve and the
I
serpent.
mean, let me see.
And the people behind them.
Yeah. Isn't that Adam and Eve? And wouldn't that be Lilith?
That is Lilith talking to
Yeah.
Adam.
Yeah.
And Eve is distracted
At the tree.
at the tree. Now,
Yep.
the serpent, when I saw this, I suddenly was in kind of a trance. So, this is what I got. This is not the depiction of what the serpents are. The serpents have been here. They're a race that is billions of years old.
Yes.
They still walk. They still walk among us. Um, but the importance of that, and y'all got it, and I'm glad that, this is Lilith,
Hmm.
and she's warning Adam about what's happening here with this other problem, which was Eve.
Hmm.
Eve was created with no sense of, she had the sense that she was subservient, and Lilith
But
was.
she was a clone. They say
Good
they
answer.
took her.
Well, now there you go. If you take it
She got
from,
taken from Adam's rib, which means she's a clone. She would
she
be
was taken from the
genetically.
cellular, yeah.
Yeah, maybe there's no soul interface, and maybe that's what gives you the internal dialogue in your consciousness.
So we're talking about beginnings in here, and my question is, so I believe that when I was getting this, we're in an ancient war.
Can I
Jenny,
say
it's
that
interesting because we didn't even talk about this. This war has been ongoing for, we don't even know where it began. Where we were suddenly either thrust into it, or we became a part for the reason for it.
some words that are coming from the picture for me spiritually are she was made manifest and caged by the need for breath, and that being something symbolic to the rib cage, um, brought into physical manifestation, like Trina said, of the clone type DNA replication theory of this, but that she was caged, requiring breath. And that was a subservient space, a physical form, and the serpent would tell her otherwise, that there was other layers to have.
But according to the Bible, Eve never had the breath of God blown into her. She never received a living soul.
Which is why I think it's saying that she received the caged breath of Adam, from his rib cage, quite literally,
Yeah, it's an
tied
interesting,
tied
yes.
to his breath.
But it's interesting with Lilith, again, the interpretation as I look at this is that she's trying to prevent what I think we're involved in now.
Yeah.
I don't see her as this evil, queen of the dam. What I see here is the potential hope for mankind. I don't know. If you go with the narrative, that's all. So I just wanted to show you all this. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm. It is.
It is,
I
isn't it?
definitely know that there is definitely something very important about this forward coming age is the reconnection to the divine feminine. So
Yeah.
that part
Yes.
of creation is definitely it's needed and it's surfacing in a multitude of ways. But I think it's important and it's probably time.
Yeah, it's a powerful drawing, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
very.
I don't know where the cat was that when he got this, but I mean, wow. Like he was tapped into something that was powerful. That's all I got to say. I wonder if he was
Hmm.
actually, channeling Lilith in this.
It's very possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's shifting.
And the
Hmm.
other thing about Eve, Eve is, more of what I would say is of the earth than as opposed to Lilith, which Lilith, in this is just my perspective, is more spiritual of spirit than Eve, which is of more of the body, the earth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think she was a genetic modification, a CRISPR, like a CRISPR type thing. So if they took the
Do
rib,
you notice that Lilith is black?
yeah,
Yeah.
she's way darker. Yeah, way darker. And that I would, to me, that would make sense in a duality perspective. The first two, one would be dark and one would be white. That would make perfect sense to me in my consciousness.
Yeah.
But yeah, the rib is ribonucleic acid.
Hmm. And
So
this is why
DNA,
in the
RNA.
apocalypse of Adam and Eve, that when Adam was to know Eve, he rejected her because, as he said, why would I have intercourse with myself?
Right.
But that's
Yep.
powerful.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. So we know that there's two creations in the biblical story, but we just don't know a lot about it. But
Mm-mm.
I think that there's a lot to that. When Adam was put to sleep, it never says they fully woke him up and, they couldn't handle his power. So it seems like these modifications were a necessity to keep us under control. And I wonder if that's part of how things get healed is because,
Y'all know there's 144 people in the chat room right now,
wow,
according to
It's
that's
a
Mary
number.
Lynn.
amazing.
A number.
Howdy, y'all. Well, yeah, and someone just said, who was that? Was it Bonnie? Someone said that, they had taken, Lilith out.
Yeah,
Except for
they
the
sure
verse
did.
in Isaiah that reference her as the screeching owl. And
Wow.
yeah, so when we first moved here, we were greeted by an owl.
Mhm. Mhm.
I said, howdy, Lilith.
Yep.
How y'all been? So,
Yeah.
anyway, Rick says now 153. Well, welcome
Yeah.
everybody. Yeah, we thank you.
Hi.
Wow. We're just, small little thing here, but it's interesting, the contrast Lilith being dark, Adam being light, white.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And poor Eve, I still say she got the short end of the deal. I mean, seriously. I mean, think about it. God, Yahweh, or whoever the God who was playing
You
God.
know, Wayne, I think about this often, because they talk about the great fall
Hmm.
was with Adam and Eve. I wondered because if Eve was more technological and more blended with maybe higher intelligent beings, but they were more technological, less emotional. I wonder if that was like one of the biggest parts of uh, artificial intelligence, but more on an organic level, reconnecting consciousness in a different way.
Well, the thing about it, Lilith was never cursed by God.
Right.
Only Eve was.
Yeah.
I mean, so we're talking curses. I mean, this is where these curses originate from. And whether you believe the Bible or not, it really is representative that the curse has been among humans, it seems like almost from the get-go. And if you look at Lilith, the way I look at her, with great respect, she never was cursed by this God.
What if the ancient word for serpent literally meant alien?
I don't think, I think that could easily, yeah, it would
I've
be
been thinking
alien
about
to
that. Yeah.
us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, no, no, like we see all the ancient drawings with the different faced beings and all the stuff and the Vermanas and the UFOs. And
Hmm.
I'm like, I wonder if that was the ancient name for alien was serpent. Like they didn't have a word for it, but they were the most intelligent. Serpents are intelligent. So in reference to what we had to reference to, I wonder if that's how all the serpent worship went all through every religion, all through the world, through all time, through all ages.
In one of the Apocrypha books that I have over there, they had a whole section on the walking reptilians, the
Yeah,
walking, the
the
walking
Naga,
snake men.
the Naga. Yeah,
Yeah, Naga.
Naga
And
serpent.
these were people here. They were just like us. They didn't maybe have the same
Yeah, they
characteristics that
had
was human.
more
Yeah.
serpent. And then you have the ancient pictures of the reptilian holding the baby.
Well, go further into
Now
that. You can go into the
reptilian.
book of Revelation and even into the book of Isaiah and Ezekiel. This God, his these four beasts that he has around his throne are reptilian.
I'm telling you, I'm looking at all this stuff. I'm like, I wonder if serpent means reptilian. It means literally alien, reptilian. It was just a term to identify all these different creatures and species that have been part of what all of this is. I have a feeling there's a bunch.
Well, I
But
did the Bloodline Invader series, and I did a full, I think it was almost 4 hours. And when I went into the doing the research, that as far back as I can look, I saw two things. I saw one, the feminine,
hmm,
and two, the reptilian, the snake.
yeah, me too.
And
I
the
keep
snake was
seeing that
viewed not
correlation.
as evil, but as life,
And wait,
wisdom,
what
mercy.
what if the fall was falling into matter? And what if the creator of matter would be what some would call Sophia? And what if that is literally the serpent that does the whole Ouroboros that encloses our whole entire cosmos? Serpent.
When you say that, I often think, well, if there's something making the boundary, then there's something on the outside of that boundary. That was one of the
Oh,
things.
I always think that
Yeah.
too. I'm with you with that. I am totally there with that thought. Yeah, I
I
get
often
it.
thought, when I was really tripping, that, if you go out into space and you go further back and further back and further back and you reach where it all began, well, so what did that look like before begun?
Right.
They're the Theodore questions late at night. But I think it doesn't have to be good or bad all the
No,
I don't
time.
I
think it
think it's,
is. Yeah, I
yeah, I
think
think
it's
it's
neutral.
everything.
You go back to the bird and the snake. The bird and the snake is an ancient, seemingly rivalry gang going through all of the uh, mystic worlds. There's the bird and the snake, and we still use that now. And I think it's just air and earth as well. I think that Lilith doesn't necessarily have to be good or bad or hated or loved. She is, and as powerful as she is, was, and will be. But that doesn't necessarily write off the fact that the serpent had an engagement with Eve because it saw an injustice, as well, and gave some breath of life to Eve through that, which is how we've all of a sudden got Earth and the snake, and then air and earth together. So I think it's multi-layered, but we've definitely become a problem in duplication. We've definitely,
Yeah,
where we
we're a
are
problem, all
today,
right.
there is definitely
A
some
royal pain
issue
in the ass.
somewhere in not knowing ourselves, and the duplication process has gone wrong. I think we need to stop the conveyor belt for a little while and redress
I think
the
we got to
balance.
break the curse over the
Yeah,
divine feminine. I mean, we
yeah,
skipped over that, and you really can't.
Hmm.
This God, Jehovah, Yahweh, whatever you want to call it, cursed the woman.
because it
Hmm.
was
He cursed her.
terrified of us. It was terrified of us, and the
And
ability
but
to
mankind has never challenged that curse. I mean, he
like.
cursed Adam as well. He cursed the earth. He cursed the freaking earth. How
Hmm.
does a God do that?
Because he's
To
pissed. He was turned from a light being into a physical human being,
Bingo.
and he got pissed. He didn't know how to operate the
So
body.
this is
I
why
mean,
this
this
makes
is
us a
like,
prison planet
It's big
you
feeling.
know,
because
it,
we're cursed. We're born into a curse.
what is
And
the
I'm
gift
mad.
of
I
a
think we can
serpent?
change that. What, excuse me, dear? What was that?
What is the gift of a serpent? Sensory. So you can experience in a denser physical body. I can see the gifts and I can also see the curse, but I do. I mean, it basically was a curse
Well,
and to
y'all the
be
one that
punished.
have to go through the birth pangs. We don't.
Oh,
Men.
dude, it's just unbelievable too.
I know it.
Unbelievable.
I
Unbelievable.
passed kidney stones in the past, and the
That's
urologist
close.
said
Yeah,
that,
it's
and
close.
she was a female, and she said, well, because I actually woke up in recovery with a female napkin on my private part. And she said, well, you've just come as close as you'll ever know what giving birth is, but she said, you haven't even crossed the threshold. I thought,
Right.
I don't
Yeah,
want to.
yeah, it's illegal. It's
I
illegal.
don't want to. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah.
yeah,
You.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
mean, if
we
if
have.
most men actually saw the birthing process, I mean, yeah, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like,
You know, the whole thing I keep seeing is, breaking curses. It's like, I keep seeing a mirror. It's like you're dealing with a curse, kind of with a curse. And it's like that. I keep being shown that I'm like, how do you go above all of that?
isn't that
There
the thing
has
with the
to be a
magic
way.
mirror on the wall? Who's the fairest
Yeah.
of it? Wasn't that the fact that the witch was using the mirror as a curse?
Yeah, to try to get Snow
Am
White
I
so she
wrong
could
on that?
get
But
her
yeah,
heart. Because
yeah,
she
I
thought
mean,
she was going to become the queen. She wanted to hold her throne. Get rid
yeah,
of Snow White, problem solved.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
problem
I
They
solved.
swear, I
it's
do that thing where they say,
definitely.
you do the eye meditation, look into your left pupil and just
Yeah.
focus in there. Do it in a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean,
Kind of like
sometimes I feel like
how Wayne,
Neo,
like
It's
you,
like,
you've witnessed
boom.
the miracles. You've seen all this power. You know what I mean? It's like there has to be a way just to go straight into that. I'm like, how do we do that?
I do believe in the curses, but I also see I come from an ideology or a theology that said that the curse had been broken over me.
Yeah.
And therefore, I could go out into a darkened world and begin to reverse curses.
Yeah.
That's the most effective thing I've ever seen is reversal.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I
it is.
mean,
That's
you
a
reverse
powerful
the
thing.
curse of poverty in a person's life,
Uh-huh.
that person just gained a certain freedom that had
Mm-hmm.
been held against them, and they were bound from it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sickness is the same way. We used to go
Mm-hmm.
into the hospitals and, lay hands and anoint people with oil. And, you know, there were those who did recover, and there's those who didn't. So what was the difference? One received, one didn't.
One
Yeah.
expected and one doubted.
Bingo. You get the gold
Yep.
star, Miss Trina.
Yep.
Jenny,
Oh,
you get
shoot.
one
I'll be
too,
right
because
back.
we awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. I think it's astonishing to me right now the depths people are going to maintain their own curses though. They're
True.
fighting they're fighting the reversal. You as an empath you're getting ricochet at the moment when you're trying to reverse stuff because their shields are up and they're full of fear and hate and they want to they don't share. I said to a friend last week, and I meant it, that my happiness is shared in their happiness. Their happiness is a part of mine.
Yeah.
Um, it's not that I would, I want to exalt them when they're up because I have no doubt, but there's still no strings of this, that they would do the same for me. That me doing that for them does and seeing them succeed doesn't take away from me. It adds to me. Um, there's a lot of people out there that don't know the joy of that, like, and the freedom of that in a friendship. Um, friendships like this too. And that is that's a lovely space to exist in. Um, but the people out there are resistant to the
Oh,
reversal. They're real resistant.
what if we could just reverse that curse enough to where we could see maybe one news anchor begin to say, well, where's love? I mean, I
Mhm.
keep on saying that
Mhm.
it's 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 moved from our vernacular. It really has.
You know what I would
Mm,
keep seeing is, the serpent goes like this,
Hmm.
and then, the original sin. What if the original sin is simply the sine wave, the
It's a sine
vibration
wave.
we're sitting in? Yeah, the
exactly.
Yeah.
vibration. So like I said, we got to go bigger. I think it's like a bigger, like it's bigger, but it's simpler. It's basically raise your vibration, kind of like that simple, but collectively to how to unify people to raise the vibration on a focused target like water, because water, there's no religious bias. Nobody cares, there's no problem with water. So like hit a target that nobody's going to like reject in their consciousness, and work with this sine wave, because what if it's just kind of that simple? It's correcting the sin, the sign that we fell into that changed light into form, and we lost our memory, and that we were captured by it looks like draconians, which are again serpent. It's profound how ancient it looks like we were captured
I
millions of
often
years ago.
wonder if
Yeah.
we have been fooled by thinking it was the draconians or the enemy, when in fact, maybe it's the one who we think are our rescuers who are really our enslavers. I mean, what
Well,
does a shepherd do? A shepherd protects the flock enough to get them to the slaughterhouse.
Absolutely.
yeah,
I mean, is it just me? But I don't like that.
No, and that's
yeah,
just fact, and it really is. And he carries a big hook.
Yeah.
That's like Captain Hook from Peter Pan. You know what I mean? But I think when the thing is like, how do you know? How do you remember who you are so you won't get hooked? Because you'll know your own power. You won't give your power away. And I think that's the key. We don't remember. We have no idea who we are. We forget. But
Yeah, but
you
it
are
doesn't it
that.
seem like it's the rebels who usually get at least a little piece of that insight? And I mean, I
Yeah.
see all of us as rebels.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, there's no way that we could go into formal society, just using it as a metaphor, and somehow be acceptable. They're going to say,
no, I'm very unacceptable. I'm very
because
unacceptable.
someone's going to say something, and you're going to, and particularly Amal, I've done that before, totally say something totally inappropriate,
Yeah.
just to make your point.
Yeah. It's like when you've been a dancer or a breastfeeder, you've got to be careful when you're going out in public and doing things, because you recognize that you're used to just getting changed anywhere and getting things out anywhere, and it does. It's a bit of a, so that's what it feels like times 100 right now, of where we're enemies of the state right now. Not
And
because
there's
we
not a
don't.
person in this group that hey, let's just be real honest, that we have done things that you probably wouldn't talk a lot about, but you still did it and you still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Just saying, just saying.
Mm.
Never doubt the stimulation of eccentricity. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sensory.
And it is. And I keep on getting the idea of that hook because, that hook is like a hook, you can think of either fishing or,
Music,
or,
music has a
Mhm.
hook.
And there's a lot of fish connotations with that shepherd
mm-mm,
story.
yeah.
It's for
Mm-mm.
real. I mean, when you look at all this stuff metaphorically and, look outside the box a little bit, you're like, oh, snap.
So they've
Whew.
always tried to suppress us. And I
I
just
think they
wonder,
have to, because we're not meant to
yeah,
be human. I don't think we were ever meant to be human. I think we were created into humans with our light, but our light is the key. It's what you are with this is irrelevant to what you are. So that's the thing. They do not want you to know, because when you do that, you understand too that all of the people that are in your resonance frequency, they're part of like your soul unity light family. So and our light family is, I think, ginormous, and
I
it
think it's
comes from,
big.
yeah, huge. So
Mhm.
we've got family members of light, and it's about love and unity and, service to others, not just service to self. Of course, you want to enjoy your own life too, but you don't want to hurt anybody in the way. It's just a different level of being. And I think many of us have come from existences that live and operate that way. And that's why we came here to help our brothers and sisters who can't wake up try to wake up. But
You
a
know,
lot of them won't, and a lot of them don't carry the code that we carry.
I'm encouraged when, you know, paranormal caught on camera, and you've seen so many of them where people have captured like it's this colony of orbs, and their purpose and how they're moving, but
Yeah.
it looks like there is thousands of them, and you know. I often wonder if that's really what the journey is. I mean, that you come into this realm when you're in of another structure and you're coming in and I don't know if what the purpose would be. Would it be to affect other people's lives? Is it like a cosmic bus and orbs get off and they begin to do work in other
You
people's
know what?
lives? I don't know.
I ask that question so many times, Wayne, and they always show me, okay, to break it down to a basic level, your consciousness can perceive it. Imagine that you exist within a universal construct of a massive light body that is cosmos.
Yeah, I can dig
And
that.
and that body has given birth to multiple bodies throughout the system as suns and stars. So as that light is projected out, the fractal contains the whole. Remember, the fractal
Can I tell
contains
you
the
how I
whole.
see that?
Yeah. So
I
I
see
see they
my,
pop in and out, Wayne,
but
of
see, I
different
see myself
realities.
as I'm in this brain. That's how I see
Yeah.
reality, this in my spiritual reality. And I
Yeah. Big
am
time.
that synaptic
Yes.
pathway that has that light traveling. That's me.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
see that.
And I met
Yes.
y'all and I
Yes.
met others and I went far freaking out, you know?
Isn't that amazing? And that's due to the mind of the construct you're within. And the frequency, the like-minded, that's what it says, like-minded people usually find each other because there's a magnetic pull of a resonance.
I
So
wonder,
yeah.
do spirits dance? Can spirit feel other spirits? I mean,
Oh
because
Course,
there's
yeah, I
something
dance
about
with
physical
Brian on the
touch.
cloud. I
course.
dance with Brian.
Well, when I hug my wife, I mean, I'm always, I can see myself hugging her, and it's just, experiencing the warmth of her body, the pheromones of her smell. And I think to myself, how does spirit interpret that? I mean, because I don't know, maybe that's that part of being human that is the gift. I don't know.
Well,
Can I
in that
explain
moment,
something?
you absorb in one another in spirit. So in physical, you reach that melting point.
Oh, we
But
do
in
the cosmic
spirit,
dance,
I
I can
see
tell
you.
you.
Yeah, exactly. I see you
Wayne,
in one another in spirit.
Yes, ma'am.
another thing like that. One time, my friend was concerned about her husband, like talking about these orbs of light and what do they maybe do. So my friend was very concerned. Her husband wasn't home. He was on a road trip, no communication, yada, yada, yada. Literally, I was focusing in on him and I was able to see him driving in the car, but it was like I was in the passenger seat looking through somebody else's eyes. And that was his father. And he told me who I was seeing through, and he called himself the Bear. I didn't even know what that was, but that was his nickname. I never knew that. So, you know what I mean? So, I wonder if they're around us to help give us messages and protect us and support us because I literally saw her freaking out and then all of a sudden I could tune into her husband, but I was seeing him through his father's eyes who I didn't even know. And it was very odd. But I see that light connection that we have.
I'm seeing, who was it? Ruth, but not Ruth Buzzy, though, on Laugh-In, the operator.
Mhm.
And what's happening is that you're connecting
Yeah, like a
into that
telephone.
consciousness, and you've made that connection, and then she can pull it, and when you pull it, you've lost the connection.
All done.
Yeah,
Right.
I, I don't
Yeah.
know, but I think that's reasonable, right?
Yeah. And I wonder if that's how we get brilliant ideas and stuff. We've got
Well,
these like conscious bubbles floating around and you just catch one, you know?
the question that I asked, I have to tell you when we get off the live show this experience I had last night, but uh, it's because it was different, but completely lost my train of thought. So, Jenny, pick up on from here.
Well,
Yeah.
so when you were saying before about the casting from the stars and being the stars, if you, I saw somebody spilling something, and when you get some kitchen roll, blue roll, and you put it against the surface to draw out that, and the moisture is attracted like a wick, And so there's a level of us coming in also that this is a vessel to experience, and we fill things up. We're drawn to it, so it comes from there. And then we've put this human essence to it, which is lovely and fucking awful at the same time,
Both.
creating creating this, pendulum.
Did she just
Um,
drop an F-bomb on us?
I did. Sorry, it's as bad
Oh,
as
we
that.
love you,
I
darling.
mean, it's as bad as that. I've got to be real. I'm the intuitive realist.
And we love it. I mean,
So, so there's
just
that
tell it like
also.
it is. That's all I got to say.
There's a,
Lily Tomlin,
but
yes,
the
thank you.
orbs. I see a lot of the orbs around people in their auras,
Mhm.
being ourselves, like we're a spinning vortex when we're in our right essence, when we're in our right frequencies, we spin fast. And so I'll often catch, like Trina says, like in Harry Potter, the round golden ball, the thing that flies, I'll often catch one of those and say, ah, that's
Yes.
what that was, because I can't
Yes.
fit everything in here. I know I can't.
Yes.
There's a lot of the orbs that people see around me, and I think, well, that was just me. But well done for seeing it. That part of me,
Yep.
good for you, because I don't show that very often. So the orbs, yes, of course, there can be other people's orbs and other beings' orbs, of course, but often I see them just being as a part of us, in this spinning vortex, that
Yep.
isn't encapsulated just by skin.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what I was thinking.
Have y'all seen
Mhm.
Gaia? I haven't seen Gaia lately.
I
No.
haven't either.
Yeah. Anyway,
Huh.
Gaia, we're just thinking of you. You entered
Yeah.
into my thought process, so it's like, yeah. So
Okay.
getting to this then as a group, like we know where we can go in a group meditation into the forest that we've created. This group has actually created an egregore, who is
Mhm.
still active, and Trina, I want to add in something you were talking about as we go through life and the different aspects. Um, so we were talking with Mike and Cindy about spirit guides.
Mhm.
And this weekend, out of the blue, I heard this. Do you know that the vast majority of humanity waste, never acknowledge, never pay attention to their spirit guides?
And
They
their guardian
literally bind
angel.
them. Yes, they
Both.
bind them. They don't even think of them.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
I guess that's why I'm saying that makes us so unique. We could be so freaking powerful that we could break this curse. And
Wayne, you know what I really think your spirit guides are?
who?
Part of your light body, but your light body's too big. It can't come into this. So, you know what I'm saying? I think that's actually like a big part of you, but you just can't remember. And because I've always seen, they showed me this soul is created in a pod of six.
Hmm.
So, and your whole fullness of your soul's essence is it's personas within an arrangement of creation. It was beautiful what they showed me, and it was like how the light all weaved each other with different rays and colors and geometry, and it was just really beautiful. So I wonder a lot of times if your spirit guides are part of your actual soul, but it's not part of your soul construct while you're trying to be in a human body. You know what I mean? But it's literally a part of you at your core light essence.
I can enter into my mind and I'm in a place that it's there's no north, south, east, west, but the thing about it is it's completely dark, but I'm not.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't scare me,
And
you
Uh-huh.
that
know?
goes back to Lilith and the symbology of her being black and Adam being white, and talking about the dark woman manifest being the divine feminine essence, the divine feminine essence having to be black because all things of creation can come from her, but also Adam would be the stars, the diamond that shines on the black canvas of Lilith. And so it goes back to that the darkness isn't frightening when you know what it is, in that it's the all possibilities of you, the potentials
Yes.
of you. But people are terrified of the dark because we watch movies that make us terrified of the dark. We've got lights on all of the time, which then makes us terrified of the dark. Eyes don't assimilate to the dark, but if you give them a chance to, from being a kid and still now, I won't go around the house turning lights on. I won't go outside with a torch very often. I
Oh, I do.
like to stimulate my eyes, and I'm very good at seeing in the dark, less than I am in seeing in the light, actually. So there's those things that keep you connected to that dark womb unmanifest. But the problem is, and this came in, is that we have got these empty vessels that don't know their guides, that don't accept anything, that are what would be described as NPCs. And what have these oppressors done? They've made sure to give those types of people a vote. And that's a difficult one to untangle from, because it's the people who can be filled with anything, because they're connected to nothing, that keeps running this cycle round and round. So that's a point of manifestation of reversal too. The curse on the
You
of
know,
the
another good way to pull that energy away too is like God, Wayne used to talk about killing the gods because people forget about them, and over the eons of times we don't
Mhm.
know who they are anymore, and that eventually like gets rid of it. And I keep seeing that that's a huge part of the solution too, is trying to, like you say, pull back and do things more the way you're doing them, Jenny, growing your own stuff, foraging, learning how to use nature, all of these things to disconnect from all of the major things, to be more independent, take care of your own body, take care of yourself, take care of your needs. That's so important. And you're the epitome of that. And I think this is a big part. Pull your energy back as much as you can.
We need recruits. I mean, as you were talking, I was asking myself, so where are the light workers? I mean, we need them now. And then immediately I thought, there is a generation now that I think they're the alphas, those that were born after the millennial. I mean, yeah. Um, there's a huge opportunity to bring a message to a generation that they don't want the religion, they don't want the
No,
politics,
no.
they really don't want the metaphysical either, because they seen, it being extorted and perverted,
Yeah.
but they're looking for something that has authentic power.
Yes.
I think everyone listening to my voice, listening to y'all's voice as well, is that we can demonstrate that.
Yes. And then, but the thing is the kids will actually show you if they're
And
amazing.
that's the idea. It's basically to start the generators, to flip the switch. And I think they're here. I think that they were purposely brought in, and it's just a matter of, and there is that generation there that I've been really impressed to seeing some of the youth that are really getting this.
Absolutely. And Wayne, I do too. Like the more you talk about how we advance our telepathic abilities, the things that we can activate and utilize. Again, the autistic children, these are the savants, these are the
Hmm.
Einsteins, these are the Teslas. They're here, and we have this language barrier, but it's starting to open. Those kids are going to be hitting levels that are going to affect the other. It's a 100 monkey thing. But I have a feeling a lot of these autistic children are going to be the ones that cross the bridge first and open it up. These kids are going to be the future, and they are powerful.
And each one of us have the opportunity in our daily lives to be that igniter. I mean, to really demonstrate before I leave this planet, I want to be able to let people can actually see that when we talk about magic, understand it's not the illusion or the trick of hands. No, this is the aspect of manipulating, mastering physical matter for
Yeah.
the betterment.
I was gonna say
It's
love
not for
wins.
me to become rich because I'm already there. If I didn't have a dime in the bank, the love that I have for my wife and that alone can't be bought. That's
Mm-hmm.
priceless.
Yep.
That makes me more wealthy than the vast majority of all these others. But my point is that we have the power within us of this group to really begin to show a generation that where they could potentially pick up from where we leave off. Jenny, you're a good example of what I would call a true witch, and that is that you flow with nature and in her bounty, understanding the uniquenesses of what she produces in her medicine cabinet.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people can do that.
They don't know
That's,
Yeah.
nature because there's no nature. There's so much boxes and technology.
yeah, yeah.
There's not a lot of nature, so we lose all the important information. I mean, it's just like they're having trouble right now getting to the dentist. Thank God she's got some natural remedies, guys, that help
Bingo.
it
You're
so they
right.
can get to the dentist. You
Yes,
know,
yes.
these things are important.
The time oil is definitely the most powerful one on my gum right now. I've been thinking about it the whole show, like which side is
When
which
she
one was
first
which.
come on, I was wondering, did she hit the bottle or what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was oh, I can't feel it a bit, but I've been testing lots of stuff, but
I
definitely
guess you
the
could
time
get
oil.
whiskey and just use it like a mouthwash to get somewhat of the,
Yeah,
but
That does
yeah,
help.
yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it should be brown liquor, not white, I think.
yeah. That's
Mhm.
the best.
Whiskey.
And turkey.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
why. Yeah.
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 Maybe that's just a carryover from the old West.
But
Well,
I don't.
partner, you know,
Well, it
take
cleans
a
it.
swig of
It
this.
cleans it. The alcohol burns
It
out
does. It
bacteria,
does.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then the
Yeah.
whiskey helps with the pain. So it's a double dose. It's
And if you
good,
throw in
good
any
stuff
herbs
there.
in your whiskey, any fruits, I don't drink really, but when I get a bottle of anything, I'll throw some of the blackberries in there, and because then it becomes a tincture.
Yeah.
You've
Yeah.
got a very powerful tincture, and it tastes
Well, isn't it
good.
true alchemy? I mean, a
It
bartender
is.
knows how to mix the spirits.
It is. It
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
And the alcohol pulls it out and holds it there in suspension, and it doesn't degrade in value. It'll just keep increasing in value of properties.
What I read in the Golden Dawn is that distilling is where you actually, as a true um, mover,
You
alchemist,
know, you what because you're distilling, you're
you're
changing
bringing
water
in
from
this.
one
Yes,
property to
yes,
another. You're
yeah,
putting a
yeah.
transformation of matter at will, and you're doing it intentionally. Yeah, that's alchemy. When you change something into something new, man, that's wonderful.
So here's a little secret. If you ever into distilling, get someone where you can do a circle around as the distilling process is going on and start channeling in the type of spirits, let's say a spirit of laughter that comes
Mhm.
into that distilling process. I'll guarantee you that when people will drink that, they're going to get a buzz, yes, but you will see that they will start laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, be careful with that. Calling the
There's
rain
Gaia.
in a
Hey,
flood.
sweetie,
So
good to
gotta
see
be
you.
careful.
Well,
Gotta
yeah, I mean, but I've
yeah.
seen this happen. I was taught this, and
Yeah,
it
I
and it
know.
works. It
Yes,
People
it
that you
works.
will
like,
work.
though, only give it to people that you like, if because that
And
is
think of it.
opens up a channel back to you too.
All right, so
So
you mean where I learned my I used to live in Knoxville, Tennessee, and I knew people that lived up in Eastern Appalachia and came
Guy is
across,
here.
huh?
Guy is
Yeah,
here.
I
Hi,
said that guy is here. Yeah, we've missed you, dear. And anyway, there was a preacher up there, and he did it, using the name of Jesus and calling in this spirit. And I swear, I mean, you take a swig of that, and it's yeah. I mean, you're drinking in the spirit.
Wayne, wonder if that's how we reverse the curse.
That's a good idea.
with the water. I'm telling you, they keep
Wow.
telling me
All
it's the
right, so
water.
think
It's
about
the
this
water.
group. We've been talking about a group thing. So think about this, all you entrepreneurs out there. Imagine if we started a water distilling purification
Well,
company
it's already
that,
happening in that people are buying these hydrogenized water things. So this is going to give me 80 to 90 minerals in this water
yeah,
just by it hydrogenizes it and so
yep,
gives it that oxygen particle. So there's things
but
like that. But if we could do
but
that en masse,
but what I'm talking, Jenny, I'm talking about a group intention focused in there in changing not just how the hydrogen into the water, but I'm talking about the spiritual aspect of this.
Change the sine wave.
You know, I mean, you hire people that's what they would do. That is what your job would be. You'd be compensated for that. But what the purpose is to change that however we get this thing done. I mean, and I'm just brainstorming
You
up
know,
here.
Wayne, they always talk about the living waters,
Lay
the
your
prime
hands in on it.
water.
That's what I'm talking. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, the hydrogen thing works, no doubt.
not find could we not find some billionaires who actually aren't friends of what's happening right now because it'll affect them that maybe want to set up some water companies that want to do water differently because I'm telling you they would have custom
Listen.
from around the world because all of these water companies right now are doing us over.
So you know
They
what I just got told by Spirit?
what?
It's what
Yes.
holy water is.
Yes.
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 Of
Yes.
course.
Yes.
We're just talking now, turning the holy water into a holy purpose.
Yes. That's when you win.
Hmm. Every week, folks, we keep giving out these are billion-dollar ideas.
Yes.
That's going to change the world.
Yes.
I can see right now, if you picture something like this under the sink, I've just seen it, and it's just like Find My Keys plates where you can have it on your key ring and it'll tell you where your keys are. A little thing the size of that hooks onto the water pipes that actually is receiving a wave of frequency form that literally feeds a frequency to the water leaving the pipes as each time somebody turns the tap on. I bet you somebody's going to figure out what that is that I'm seeing and do it. And I'll be very thankful for them to do that because that is a good idea. I just don't know how to do it.
I love this group. Okay. I'm edified by this. Our shows are just, they edify my spirit. It just lifts my soul.
Me too.
I
I am
mean,
so grateful.
so that's all I got to say. People love the dress, Jenny.
Thank
Mm.
you.
You're so
Thank you
pretty.
so much.
It
Mm.
is a lovely dress.
I've actually got the shoes on as well for once.
So is it warm there?
Yeah, it's been pretty warm today. It's been quite humid though, like really wet. But it stayed pretty dry today, so I got the rest of the decking finished off. So I
I
now have
love
a
this
nice
gal.
area. I'll post pictures very soon. Um, and
Oh,
I got a cast iron oven. So
Oh,
proud of. So in a woman's cave
nice.
outside. Well, not a cave, but a space that's so it should have been like 250, 300 pounds. But the guy liked the look of me and he liked the banter. So somebody else let him down. So I was thinking, that is mine. It's my cast iron stove outside. I know it is. And so when he told me it was sold, I just didn't believe him. And the guy had messed him around, hadn't turned up. And so he messaged me out the blue and said, would you like it for £10, love? And I'd said, I very much would. And so I've got a brand new cast iron stove for outside that should have cost me like £300 easy. It's just got a bit of
Oh,
rust.
oh,
see,
Put
that's
them out.
prosperity. That is
Yeah,
it's
it is. Yeah,
prosperity and favor.
manifesting,
yeah.
manifesting the things you need. And
Hmm.
oh, what a beautiful, beautiful example of that. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm so
Gosh.
excited to get that
That's what
fire
we're
going.
talking about.
You can see
Yeah.
my fingers, look. They were, you know how I was trying to get them painted to make me slow down a bit? Didn't work. And
Right.
so they're all bruised up because I hammered them by accident and whatnot, because I've been working in the rain. But this cast iron oven, oh, baby, I can't wait. I love a fire. I
I
love a fire.
know.
Everybody here knows it, don't you, Trina? You know
Yes.
I love fire. I love
Oh,
you because of that.
love it.
And so I've
I
been
love it.
there's about 4 or 5 different fire pits of different variations in my garden right now because I
Sure.
ended up making a stove. Um, so this stove idea was a mix of concrete with fire clay, and you used a box. So I cut out 2 polystyrene rings, put it in, stuck it on, poured my concrete mix in, left it. I unveiled that today, and I've got a hob. I've got a hob, and so I built some brickwork up, and I've made a stove. So I've just got to clay that in clay. So I'm gonna have to slow down on the variations of fire in the garden. But
Yeah, but
yeah,
see, you're feeling it. It's time to light the fires. Light the
yeah,
fires of creation.
outside, cook outside.
Yeah.
Got a
Yeah.
free barbecue as well. Somebody saw me struggling with the cast iron oven and offered me a free barbecue. So I took that
Oh,
too. It's brand new. It's new. So
I
yeah,
love it.
Oh,
my life. So
Oh,
thank
good.
you. Uh,
oh,
anyone
Well,
sending
Jenny, I love you, darling. That's the way to do it.
it?
Yeah, no doubt about it.
yeah.
Mm.
Get loads done. If anybody wants me to come and visit, I get quite a lot done for very, very little money. If you want me to
Oh,
come and feng shui anything,
anytime you want to come, Jenny, my door's
I'm
open.
available. Oh, okay. Okay. I'm gonna start saving up. But yeah,
Anytime.
I can get things done. Oh, I'd love to get things done for you, Trina. I'd build things for you. So what
I
do you want
know.
built? What would you like me to build?
I have plans. Yes.
Okay, done, done. We'll build a loft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Da-da-da-dun.
uh, it's been fun. Oh, those videos, Trina, they would work. They would
Yes.
work. Yeah.
I see more
So
like
this is the
archways
goal, you
hanging
know.
with cucumbers and watermelons and stuff like that.
Yeah, you just keep me filled up. I'll keep you built. I'll keep building. You keep me filled up.
Yeah.
But yes,
Yeah.
so I'm in that energy as well of building a space of happiness wherever I can, and
Yeah.
that's garden right now. So yeah. But I love this cast stove. I'm so excited about it.
Yeah.
It
So
was like
excited.
watching a scene in Harry Met Sally, you know?
Yeah. Oh, every day.
It's like, it's like, okay, Jenny, I know you love it, that stove. I can dig that, man.
Oh, you can feel it.
Yes, yes, yes. You're going,
Yeah. I'll be saying that when
all
I'm
right.
giving the roof stops.
Laughter doeth the heart is a good medicine. That's what I say, folks. All right, everybody. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
I love you too. Y'all are just fantastic. Thank you, everyone in the chat room. You really make this. I don't care how many other channels are out there, but this this group, you're growing,
You're the
and
best.
yeah, and the people are being drawn to it. So, all of the folks that are new, we welcome you. We just speak favor over you, and the rest of the Soul Tribe. Hey, it goes without saying, we love you. We think you're
Yeah.
fabulous. You're far out, and thank you. Thank you
Love
too.
you and
See
mean
you
it.
next
Thank you.
Tuesday, right? Right, 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 right,
Yeah.
right. So, all right, smile, love the person you're with, and make sure to love yourself. There's no